It's the Forever Knight-Athon. We're recapping and reviewing every single episode of Season 1 of the 1990s Canadian police procedural about a vampire detective taking a bite out of crime. Episode 4, Last Act, opens with an unconscious man wheeled into the emergency room where doctors try to resuscitate him, but he dies. Shaken up by this, a young doctor in residence gets a massage from her coworker, and I can't tell if it's meant to be sexual. She then takes a shower where she is attacked and killed in a Psycho reference kind of way, and I know that was not sexual, it was a real murder. Then this lady sits on a bench all nervous like, what's she so nervous about? It's just a bench, don't gotta be scared of a little bench. But then the sun comes up and she explodifies, guess she was a vampo. Nick and Skanky are called in to investigate, and Nick finds a ring in the smoldering debris. Flashback to an old-timey play, Nick and the bench lady are engaged in vigorous sword play. Then backstage, some more vigorous sword play. Also, Nick is a Jedi Padawan now, I guess. What's with that fucking rat tail, bro? Come on. She tells Nick how much she loves being alive. Her favorite thing? Living. She loves that shit. There's no reason she'd ever not want to be alive. Yup, she loves living, that's for sure. They're called away from that to investigate the murder of the doctor, which they think is a word I can't say on YouTube, but it's where you stop being alive on purpose. Nick doesn't want to accept that, though, because if this doctor had committed algorithm, he'd have to confront his feelings about Erica, his former lover, who definitely algorithmed herself, and he doesn't want to do that. And what does that say about him, anyway? That this woman with such a lust for life was eventually driven to algorithm by her cursed vampiric existence? That night he opens his shutters on his windows and lets the tip of his pinky burn in the sun, wondering what it must have felt like for Erica. He's then visited by Erica's ghost, who's like, come on, dude, algorithm yourself. It'll be tight. We can be ghosts together. But he doesn't want to. And I originally started writing Erica's ghost as like as a bit, like I was pretending like I didn't understand that it was meant to be metaphorical. But as the episode went on, I think it is legitimately just her ghost. I think it's actually her ghost, and it's not a metaphor for Nick's grief. Hard to say. He goes to investigate the doctor named Marilyn's death, but just when some nurses are about to talk about why they don't think the doctor algorithmed herself, they're interrupted by the doctor that gave Marilyn that massage. Oh, she did it, probably. Oh, Jesus Christ, oh my God, you can't just do that to me forever, Knight. This clown is a terminally ill patient of Marilyn's, a clown with nothing to lose. But he's very upset by Marilyn's death, feeling betrayed as someone fighting so hard to stay alive. Seeing that he's upset, Nick says, answer is simple. Traveling clown Pagliacci's in town, and he doesn't know it yet, but he really stepped into it. Nick is called into Stonetree's office.
You look awful.
Thanks. You wanted to see me.
Sit down, Nick.
A great little bit of physical comedy. Can we talk about Captain Stonetree for a minute? Because I find him captivating. He has this extremely placid, almost whispery cadence. I can't tell if that's a choice or not.
I've been considering handing over half your outstandings to Detective Sheepers.
It lends the character this air of mystery, like he's always thinking of something else and just barely paying attention to the people he's talking to. His mind seems to be always on a million things at once, and whatever concerns you bring to him only warrant a small fraction of his attention. It is such a very specific vibe. He tells Nick he just got a call from the hospital administrator saying he'd been snooping around. Oh, so I guess that's the massage doctor. She did it then, probably, right? She did the murder? Nick pleads his case, and Stonetree says he can have 24 hours to investigate before it's officially ruled an algorithm. Nick goes to see Jeanette and tells her about Erica, but she's characteristically nonchalant.
So she finally did it. Took her long enough?
They go to Erica's apartment to go through her personal effects, and Nick retrieves an old doll he remembered her having. They're visited by one of Erica's friends, who gives them a flyer for the last play she'd written, and it's being performed the next night. Back at his apartment, Nick expresses his algorithmic thoughts to Natalie, who urges him to keep going. Also, she mentions that Marilyn, the doctor lady, was pregnant. And that's meant as a clue, right? Like, how could she algorithm herself if she's pregnant? No pregnant person would do that.
And that always bothers me. It bothers me.
People can be pregnant without wanting to be pregnant or knowing that they're pregnant. But then the show actually addresses this in a pretty cool way.
Maybe she didn't want it.
Well, why wouldn't she have an abortion?
Maybe she's a pro-lifer, I don't know.
Marilyn Siegel was on a pro-choice action committee, I checked.
Whoa, hell yeah! Not only did they address the topic of abortion, they explicitly say that the likable doctor character was a pro-choice activist. Fuck yeah, Forever Knight. Skanky goes to visit Marilyn's grieving fiancé, who hadn't actually known for certain she was pregnant. Cool way to find out, I guess.
Captain, I really think that she was murdered.
Okay. Who? Someone who didn't want her to have a baby, that's...
Someone who could use a scalpel.
Oh, it was her then. Dr. Culprit did it probably. Because she can use a scalpel, she's a doctor, and she's the only other doctor so far. Nick goes to see Erica's play, which seems really bad and overwrought.
Till you soar across the room, bursting with energy and passion, thirsty to squeeze every moment you can out of life.
Meanwhile, the killer, who could be anybody, not just Dr. Cole, injects a fatal dose of morphine into the clown who had been friends with Marilyn.
You know, this Dr. Cole, she's the same one that found Marilyn dead in the shower. Did it ever occur to you that her finding this Dean guy is something more than a coincidence?
Huh. So anyways, the clown man pulls through. Nick and Skanky set up a trap where they tell the fiancé that the clown is still alive, and then Nick switches places with him to see if the fiancé will come back. When who should come in? It's the ghost of Erica. Is the ghost the murderer? Maybe the ghost did it. No, actually, it was the fiancé. He did it, and he fucking plows through Skanky. Nick pursues and then considers killing him, but Skanky talks him out of it.
Nick, you solved this thing. Besides, think of the paperwork if you drop him.
So, I do feel like my ending was better. Dr. Cole is in love with Marilyn and realizes that when she's going to have a baby, it means that she's decided to settle down with her fiancé and leave her behind. And that drives her to a crime of passion. But then, when she sees the cops talking to Clowno, she kills him too, afraid that he knew her secret. Isn't that more interesting? And furthermore, this episode did not have LaCroix in it, so it's a shit episode for fools. And I'd like to thank the people who will forever be my knights over at patreon.com/scaredycats. In particular, I'd like to thank Verbena, Cooper Holmes, Joe McClory, Liz Widow, Maston Ginger, James Garford, C.H. Phillips, Gideon, Charlotte Hollingsworth, Charlotte Hollingsworth, who is a separate person. No, I didn't make a mistake. Shut up. Devin Kaler, Spooky Heather Sylvia, and definitely Todd. And I, Bobby Duke, the star of the channel, would like to thank the following people who's also the stars of the channel on account of their support on patreon.com/scaredycats. We got Jay Torney, Schadenfraulein, Lanston, Rachel Rat, Kato Moore, Carpad, Josh Manez, Hyla Tracy, Louisa Prito, and Jesse. Well, can you believe the shenanigans Nick Knight and his pals got up doing this one? Hey, we're gonna keep going all January, baby. You wanna get these videos a day early? Go on over to Patreon. Oh, wait. You can just wait. I mean, how bad do you need it,